Why'd you get quiet?
Because that's what you do on Wayne's World. Man.
Yeah.
5, 4, 3.
Yeah. That's the Wayne's World thing,
I wish we could have the video on here. It'd be so much cooler.
I wish people could just see you dancing. Yeah.
That's how he really dances too. It's not a joke.
Yeah.
That's real.
That's how he
Like,
dances.
these are my actual moves. Don't judge.
Right.
Yeah.
Spirit hands and pointing fingers.
Yep.
But not spirit fingers. Just
Gotta shoot the pistols at some point.
he does this and this. Not this.
Yeah.
But this.
You gotta bring in the double thumbs too towards yourself.
Blah, 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 blah.
I wonder how they made that video.
State-of-the-art computer effects back in the day.
Probably.
Yeah.
So like, it had like Oregon Trail quality computer effects.
Basically, we have better effects on our iPhones now. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Somebody shouts out, say, what is it, what is it, what is it? He was shot down in the night. People ride by, but his body's still alive. The girl in the window, what has she done? She looks down at me, says, I don't want to die.
Blah, 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 blah. That's a lie.
Somebody call the donors when they go crawling all around looking for footprints. Now tell me what the hell have we become? There's some dirty little bastards. What the hell is going on? No sense of harmony, no sense of time. Don't mention harmony. Say, what is it? What is it? What is it? Give a little shock and he raises his hand. Somebody shouts out, say, what is it? What is it? What is it? He was shot down.
I like your brainstorming you got going on here.
It's a web.
Your vision board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all the notes right there. That's it.
I don't want to die. He's blind. And they're blind. Blind, 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 blind. 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 Blind, 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 blind. Whoop, blind. Blind. Blind, 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 blind. Blind, blind. Blind. Blind, 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 blind.
Man, I need to try to get permission to just play the video at the beginning of our video. That would be
video is
sick
dope.
as
But like
fuck.
an edited shorter version.
No, fuck that.
Just the whole one.
The whole motherfucker. In its entirety.
What's the average length of an intro video? Like 30 seconds tops.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
This is the T-Hawks Lodge.
You're right. No, I'm just speaking on it.
It depends on like who the band or musician is, if they'll give you permission to use it. You know?
Oh shit. We about to transition into the shit.
Like,
I thought you were looking into the stars or some
Oh, it's
shit.
getting cool. Go.
Bill and I are the science guys in the Illuminati, and
Yeah, we're
April Holder
going.
likes Nancy Sinatra.
so
We're
yeah, I do
going.
like Nancy Sinatra.
We're going.
So
What's up? This is LodgeTalk episode 2 of season 2, and we're starting off here with April Holder.
Deuce.
How you doing?
I'm all right.
First off, I'd like to say thank you for being here. It's a pleasure. We got a lot of different stuff going on. There's gonna be a lot of stuff going on at the same time during this episode.
Simultaneously.
Yeah, it's a lot of simultaneous action going on.
We're multitasking. We're getting it done.
Yeah.
So.
You're gonna be doing a lot of multitasking.
Oh wait. Oh yeah.
Well,
I am.
guess.
Right.
Yeah. We'll both be doing it. Let's just start off with the fact that she is an artist. She draws. And what else do you do?
I do.
That's a very inappropriate term. Draw. I'm sorry.
No, it's not. That's what it's called. It's called drawing. So I do. I'm an artist by profession. I do acrylic painting, mixed media installation work, which is where I incorporate a lot of different methods and materials into the
digital stuff.
No, not digital stuff. Like everything I make, I tend to use like actual, just like more. How do I say it? I guess more like classical techniques and methods, like things like drawing, painting, all of it's freehand. Like none of it's like projected or sketched out first or anything like that.
Right, or stencils or anything like that. Yeah,
nothing like that. Nothing against that. I'm people have their ways they work, but that's not my process.
Right.
And so like I do mixed media installation work, so I incorporate like fabric and painting and threads and different things like that. And what I do is it's not just like basically like a painting put on a wall for you to view. I make pieces that are interactive. People are supposed to touch them, feel them. Part of it is like the tangible quality of experiencing it. And so it relates back to the concept of the piece, but also helps create an overall like experience of a memory for the person who views it. So it's
like textures and different stuff like that. It actually matters.
Yeah.
Along with, is it more like a full body too, or is it just visually sensory?
It's like it's visual sensory. It applies to touch. I do things that like I'll do pieces on like really thin pieces of fabric, or like I do large scale ink drawings on sheets, and so part of it is like the way the light moves through it, like if it's like the way it flows on its own, the way it is when people like touch it and interact with it and move with it and things like that. So
right, that's cool. So it almost like it's affected by natural
progression
of
so
that's
it's
tight.
Because like it's one thing to like sit there and look at a painting on the wall and you like it's like the window of the picture playing, but then this is like it allows you to like move and be part of it as well. Like you experience part of it as well, and those are like I said, those are larger installation pieces. I don't often get a chance to exhibit that work because it's hard to find a venue that is prepared for that sort of thing.
And I feel like those would be more for permanent things too. Nothing's permanent, but I mean like something long term.
Yeah, and actually that's funny because like you say permanent. That's part of the concept about it is like I make things out of materials that aren't like going to be in the long term archivally like
recognizable.
Yeah, some pieces I make purposely are going to degrade and
so it's a bunch of organic materials as opposed to plastics and it's paints
kind of,
with bad
it's kind
ingredients
of
in them.
Like a lot of the stuff I do, it relates to the whole concept of memory. So like a memory, like when it's fresh in your mind, like you know all the details. As time goes by, you start losing little bits of it and stuff, and then sometimes you just straight up forget things. So like that's kind of what the pieces are about. It's like all of that like quality of memory, how it becomes something very real and tangible to you. Sometimes it's fleeting, and then the piece itself, I'm like, nothing lasts forever. I purposely make it out of like very inexpensive materials, recycled materials, things that aren't going to be around forever or can be reused or repurposed into something else.
And that, I feel like that's a culmination of trying to like grasp the image that you see in your head. It's just what is there in your memory. Yeah. Like that's almost any art is. Whenever I make music or anybody makes music, is they hear a sound or they feel something, and then they try to recreate it again after they played it randomly or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that's cool. Yeah, that's dope. But before we get any further, let's eat some hot sauce.
Oh yeah. And thank you, by the way. Thank you for talking to me about my art.
I mean, we're about to talk more about it. What are you talking about? That's why we're here.
I don't know. I like
get you a chip.
Appreciate it. Oh, I'm gonna double chip this, or
I mean, I'll put the chips on the table, and you can have as many chips as you want after. You might need some chips.
How much hot? Whoa.
We're just gonna put. We're just gonna put a drop. We're gonna be humble people.
Oh man.
Like that's literally how much you need.
Okay, a drop.
Me and Travis put a lot on there last time, and I'll probably put the same amount just for fun, but. A drop is all you need.
You're going to want to put the smallest drop possible.
Okay.
Like,
don't even put a whole drop.
I'm gonna shake it up first.
Don't let the whole drop drip on your chip. Like, let a little bit come out of the tip of the hot sauce thing, and then just dab your chip to it.
Okay.
You know, get like a 1/16 of a drop.
Is this gonna like?
No, just put a drop on there. Don't worry about the size. That's what I say. Like, I'm about to just like.
That's what you say. Don't worry about the
Yeah.
size.
Size doesn't matter.
Size does not matter.
There you go. That's a good amount.
This
Right
is
there.
gonna-
Not the size of
gonna-
the broom.
I'm gonna
it's
go
how
with
you
that.
swing.
Okay.
Because I don't want this to make me emotional.
You
Did
can
you
cuss
just-
as much as you want. So I mean,
Right.
Did you
Hey.
just dip it into his?
no, she just
No.
like.
Yeah, I
She
just,
just
did what
I
you said to
baby
do.
Nice.
She did
Yeah.
what you said to do, and then she put it in between the two chips.
That's good.
Yeah, you
It's a
gotta.
hot
You gotta
sauce
make sure you
chip
chew those up,
sandwich.
though.
Yeah. No, I trust Travis' advice because
I'm kind of I'm AWOL.
I've known him for years.
I like to watch people like suffer, so I'm like, hey, throw a little bit extra on there.
All right,
but,
we're doing this. Cheers.
Yeah, and
Cheers.
then boom.
All right.
I'm so glad that I'm not doing this. I thought they were gonna make me do it, but turns out I don't have to.
Oh well.
No, it's fine.
Oh well, it hit you hard, like right off.
Yeah,
the
it
bat,
hit you.
right?
It's just immediate.
Shabammy.
Made me sweat.
Yep.
So, what is your inspiration? Like, what? Like, where did you?
Kick right into it.
Why'd you pick art? What? Like, when you first started doing art, why'd you do art?
Okay, so the first. Well, it's the first thing I ever remember doing. Like,
Is art?
yeah, like, holy fuck, that's hot. No, so one of my earliest memories is being a little kid, and, you know, little kids playing outside, and I'm just moving my finger through the sand, and I'm drawing pictures. And I'm drawing things.
So it
and-
just feels natural to you.
Yeah, so it was instinct, and, like, I mean, that was, like I said, one of my first memories ever. And then I have really nice, vivid memories from when I was really small of my mom taking me to museums and galleries and things and seeing art. And she had these beautiful books of different artists, and I was just like, it just felt right. Like,
So you're gonna be drawing today, right now, coming up.
yeah.
You can start whenever you want. I'll
Yeah.
explain. What she's doing is, she'll explain like what she's doing, but she's drawing a picture of me sketch while we're talking. And yeah, what are you like? What's the techniques and?
Okay, so like even my process, it has to do with the subject matter, so it's memory, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is a lot of times when I draw, it's the mark making. It's like instinct. So I'm not like focusing on making everything like perfect or accurate because, like I said, when you have a memory, it fades, it changes. Some things are more like defined and pronounced to you. Some things are not. So same thing with drawing. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate. It doesn't have to be.
It's almost like you're engulfing the character,
Yeah, like
what you remember of a person, like the actual,
Yeah.
like how you think of a person, almost what you're portraying of that person.
yeah. So it's like, am I drawing you or am I drawing like? It's my impression of you. It's my memory of you. It's my like sense of your identity. But then also, you're allowing me to capture part of maybe something of yourself you don't always see too.
Right.
So
True.
it's a combination of those things.
That's interesting when you the first thing you said. It's just about like the strokes. It's just how you do it naturally. We have a mutual friend, Jaye.
Oh man,
His motifs,
Dude,
like how he does it, and it's just so natural. And that's almost what inspired. I'm by no means a sketch artist or any type of like hand artist, but whenever I doodle, he's my inspiration. It's just the way he just freed like nothing.
Oh yeah.
There's no like design other than just his internal software, like how his ones and zeros work. It's just how he writes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like for a lot of artists, it's not just about like producing like the picture, the you know, the realism or whatever. It's like part of it's the world you see within your mind, and then part of it's like trying to express that reality to someone else. But the whole idea of mark making, the whole idea of going to create something it's instinctual. I think like people perceive it too on a lot of different levels. Like, you know, creativity is our instinct. We don't like just look at the world around us and say, okay, this is cool. We're just going to leave it the way it is. Like, sometimes we do, and that's cool. Like when we do that with nature and stuff. Like, like
leave that shit alone.
Yeah, like let's leave that be. But like, but then other times we like look at the world and we're like, or we appreciate how it naturally is, so we want to like, you know, pay tribute to it, show appreciation for it. And so, like, that's what it is. Mark making's instinctual. Everyone does it in some way. Some people do it through music. Some people do it through, you know, visual arts. Some people do it by the way they raise their family.
And
like,
even behavior, just in general.
Yeah.
Some people just, the way they behave is how they make their mark. So,
yeah.
That's interesting.
So, but this one's, like, far away. So I'm going to have to do another one that's, like, more close up of you. Because I mean, this looks, like, cartoony because it's far away. And
hey, as long as we're here, you can do whatever you want. So that's like why you picked art, but like where do you derive your inspiration from? Like,
wait.
What?
Since that one's far away,
yeah,
could you make me be like peeking around his shoulder, like
a little Travis head, like popping out the side, like hey,
like grabbing his shoulder and like peeking out behind him or something?
So, and this is like not even the way I normally work. But
no, but I mean, I'm watching you do it, and I feel like that puts even more pressure.
But, it's not like pressure so much as just like, I don't know.
No, but
trying to distinguish like the variation of the line, it's hard to do when you have a marker because you just end up getting like the same width of a line, and so it's hard to. You see, I should have started with a pin. Damn it. Okay.
You're just gonna restart.
Yeah,
All right, let's just show what you got.
Like there we go.
Like in that time, this is dope. This is like if I was gonna write a book and it's gonna
on that one.
Yeah.
If I was writing a book like J.R.R. Tolkien, this would be his art in his book. Like this is exactly the type of shit. Just add some color to that.
Wait. But that one's the perfect one. It just popped me like.
Oh, I'll put you in there later. Like we got time.
Right,
I'm gonna do
obvious,
this one.
like,
this one's gonna be a little bit more of like a closer portrait, and it's gonna have more detail. But like I'm not trying to be like a dick or anything, but I need you to face me a little bit more when we do that.
okay.
Like, yeah. So.
No, but so where do you derive your art from? Not like so since the beginning you've been doing it, but like now when you're trying to get inspiration for art, where do you go?
Oh man, like sometimes I wake up from dreams and it's the thing that gets me like started and moved in a certain direction towards, you know, wanting to create some things, interacting with people, having dialogue. Sometimes it's just like I'm like a weirdo. I'll people watch. I like to I love portraiture. I love if there's something really amazing about portraiture because you create such a narrative of a person's not just their identity but their history. You know, the complexity of who they are as a person, and you capture all that when you see somebody. And there's weird little details that you can find in people.
Right. That's dangerous, though.
It's telling about like who they are, you know, like.
But at the same time, if you're sitting in a courtyard or like a whatever, and you see somebody you completely don't know, and you just describe them based off what you see, it's almost like a don't judge a book by its cover, though.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing too. It's like there's like I said, if you know like all the different things you're looking at, it tells a lot about somebody. So it's like, oh, from, you know, just one glance, they, you know, this person might be looking like somebody who's, you know, really, I guess, like you can look at somebody and you're like, oh, they look like a tough guy. They look like somebody who's out to cause trouble and stuff. But then you start paying attention to the detail of them, and you're like, you notice little things like they have, you know,
stress lines.
Well, no, they have little like wrinkles here by their eyes. You get that from smiling a lot.
Right.
So then when you start looking at the person that looks like the tough guy, then you're like, oh wait, he's got the little wrinkles from smiling a lot. He's lived a happy life. He had a lot of reason to smile. So then you start like seeing more of a gentle quality to them, and you start recognizing more of the like overall encompassing like parts of their humanity in their life.
Right. So like without even talking to them, it's like don't judge a book by its cover, but the better you are of judging a cover, it's like the more you look at it, the more you can tell. Just if you look at something surface level without the surface level intent.
Yeah, exactly. So like it allows you a lot of time to like, and art's like investigation, man. You're always like trying to discover more about yourself, more about someone else, more about the world around you, where your place is in that world. So it just allows you that like time, that quality to do that. And it's I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's something I've never lived without, and it's something I couldn't live without. So it's really hard to explain to other people a lot of the time.
Well, what's the everyday life of an artist for you? Like, without getting too personal, like.
Oh, everyday life.
You said you wake up from dreams and you're painting or you're drawing or whatever immediately or whatever.
No, not necessarily immediately. I'll start like formulating the thought. It's like this kind of work. Like I look at sketching as work within itself, not necessarily like, oh, I go to my sketchbook and then sometimes I do that for like preliminary sketches for larger pieces. Mm-hmm. But the sketch within itself is its own work of art.
Right.
You know, and so sometimes like, yeah, I'll wake up. Sometimes I do wake up. I start sketching immediately. Sometimes I'll like wake up, have an idea, start kicking it around, start thinking of different ways to like pull out my materials, look at it, see which ones kind of hold more true to that concept or that thought or, you know. And then, like I said, I really like portraiture. So I'll go and I'll sketch people. I'll go to like public places, chill out for a while, start sketching people, ask. I always ask now too. Like I'm not just like, hey, I'm gonna start drawing some stranger, and then they're like, why is this woman staring at me? Like I'll ask first for permission. I'm not like, hey, because then too, if it becomes a bigger piece, if it becomes something that's not just a sketch that I keep to myself, if it's something I'm gonna display, I like to like first ask permission of the person, and then kind of know about them because I'm like I'm sharing part of who you are. Like you should. Yeah. You know, if you're cool with it, I'd like for you to like talk to me, share with me a little bit of who you are and that sort of thing. So,
for sure, that's dope. Like, so you just like if you're in a coffee shop, you like drawing, you're not gonna just like.
Yeah, I'll ask people. I'll be like, "Is it all right if I sketch you?" And like I've had people be like, "No, no, don't do that." Okay, like I have no problem with you saying no. Like, and then I've had other people. They're like, "Yeah, okay, sure." And then I'll do it. And then sometimes they're like, hey, can I have that? And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess. I mean, it's you. I wouldn't have made it without you. So.
Right.
How often does that happen?
Not very often. Like, usually they just let me keep it. And,
Because if I didn't know you and you drew me and we were in a, whatever, Mazio's or whatever the fuck, I would be like, can I have that?
You'd be one of those people?
Yeah.
I would so want it. It'd be so cool to hang it up on the wall.
Well, yeah, like, when I've drawn, like, people or, like, their kids, they're always like, hey, can I? I'm like, you know what? If it's for your kid, you're welcome to have that. Like, go ahead, keep it. I don't mind at all. But if it's, like, people that are kind of like, it's okay, but I'm going to throw it away. I'm like, well, you can't have it.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't ask for it if I was going to throw it away or whatever. That'd be rude.
I had people do that before. They're like, let me see that. And then they crumple it up and toss it.
You're like, wait, I didn't just, what? No.
And I'm like, well, okay, I was just trying to immortalize you, asshole.
Immortalize you for as long as this isn't biodegradable.
Exactly. Yeah, no. Oh, yeah, no. I don't talk to strangers like that. I'm like, oh, okay, well, if you didn't like it, fine.
Yeah, it's not like...
So...
What's funny is back in the day, April used to fucking draw tattoos on my arm with permanent marker.
Yeah.
And then I'd go to school and they would be like, what the fuck? What is that? I was like, man, this is my badass tattoo. And they'd be like, no, bullshit, wash that shit off. And I go try to wash it off and it was fucking permanent marker. And it didn't want to wash off. And there wasn't shit they could do about it. They would make me scrub it for minutes and minutes and minutes. And they'd just be like, fuck it.
That wasn't our fault. That was the school's fault.
Right.
Hot sauce already wore off.
You want to do it again? Are you challenging me?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it already wore off. I thought it was going to last longer.
Well, yeah. We didn't do as much as we did.
You did a cautionary amount.
Yeah.
So it was good.
See, that's why I like to just like let people just go. I'm just like, hey, do as much as you want. No, because the more the experience is crazy.
Enjoy the small amount that you did.
Yeah. Be thankful that it didn't. No, actually, I was thinking, yeah, that wasn't as bad.
More than that sucks really bad.
Are you like building up your tolerance for it since you've done it several times? You're like, you know what, I can handle this.
It's weird because the first time I did this, I didn't flinch, and everybody else was dying.
No, he was fucked up, and we all did like a drop, and he put a whole fucking smear across his whole finger,
like a line on my finger,
whole line,
and just licked it and snorted the rest, and then and I was like, I don't even feel it.
I looked at him, I was like, dude, I'm gonna miss you. Because you're about to fucking die.
And I was like, I'm good. I'm
And he
straight.
took it like a champ.
But
I still don't understand how that happened. Because think about it. You took a drop.
And then after that, it was super fucking hot, so I don't know. But that one wasn't that bad. It just depends on the circumstance and how sensitive your taste buds are at the time, I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, yeah.
I think you're building up your tolerance to it. You're going to...
I am a spice head, though. I used to eat jalapenos whole. I still like to do it sometimes. Just because I feel like it's like a super vitamin.
Yeah.
Like, it clears your system out. Your nose starts running. Your blood thins a little bit. It just is good for you.
Yeah.
Cleans your lungs a little bit.
Right.
If you're a smoker. What current projects do you have? Like, do you have any big projects you're working on right now?
Personally, I'm doing a series. I started this not too long ago where I'm doing pieces of some of them are portraits of other artists.
Mm-hmm.
And they're artists, they're, people who do video, film, all different forms of creativity. And so what I did was I purposely selected different people of different backgrounds from me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm Native American.
Right.
But I wanted to do people of very different cultural, ethnic diversity from me because it's all a work about the... diversity that is Oklahoma City, the art scene there.
Right.
Because last June I was part of a panel discussion and they were talking about it was like this it was this nice well-to-do little gallery in Bricktown.
What did you say, a POW discussion?
A panel discussion.
A panel discussion. What's that?
Yeah. So they brought in different artists and we just sort of discussed overall where the art scene is in Oklahoma City and how it's changing and how to make it more diverse.
Right.
And then I in the process of us talking about it, I realized that a lot of people don't understand that there is a lot that Oklahoma City has to offer. And so what I wanted to do was do portraits of those artists, of the ones that have a lot to offer to that scene, just creatively, intellectually, all different aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of highlight that in my work. So it's not just their portraits. It's going to be a little bit of their story, a little bit of their bio of who they are and what they do. And because, I don't know, I feel like Oklahoma City gets so underestimated. It gets treated oh yeah, you can come here and there's the Cowboy Hall of Fame and,
it just depends,
basic stuff. But people don't realize no, there's some great, there's a really nice hip hop scene here. There's really this
right.
beautifully strong cultural diversity, and it gets underappreciated or it gets downplayed.
And it just, but I mean, the surface level people, whenever, I used to run a restaurant and I was in a tourist area. I was in Bricktown in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
So people would come in and be like, what's to see and what's this? And I would be like, I want to send them to the plaza or I want to send them to the Paseo or whatever. But first off, these people are tourists, surface level people. They're what are they really wanting? What are they expecting? And so I try to play to that at the same time.
Yeah.
And so it's complicated. You'd have to really re-identify what OKC is before people wanted to portray that. You know what I mean?
So it's it's like that. But it's just saying it's there. It's there to
for sure
absorb and be offered.
And the people don't realize the amount of outside artists that are coming to OKC too. Like our friend Dante, he's from New Mexico and he's a graffiti artist that has done a lot of work in Bricktown and a lot of different places in the city. That, I mean, just art is thriving here is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
The different projects and I mean, if you go to the plaza and you just look at the walls, you'll be able to see they do it to where every so often they change the murals that they have.
Yeah.
And it's just all they give a whole bunch of shine to a whole bunch of different people. It's dope. Who are some of your favorite artists in the city?
Some of my favorite artists in the city. Oh man, Jai is just he's dope. He's
his
great.
spirit is just so great that you have to appreciate it.
Yeah, and then in his work, man, it's weird. It's because if you look at it at first, you think it's pattern and then it's design, but then you realize it's it's like a culmination of like thought and
it's like
form
computer
and,
data to me.
Yeah, it is. It almost comes to like binary code, but
Right.
then like it's very like organic as well. So and it becomes its own language too.
Right.
So I love that. Like he really like plays with that idea of like the actual visual language aspect of it.
Right.
I love him. Rihanna Deck, she is just mind blowing, man. If you ever get a chance to see her work, she's just wonderful. Like just incredible graph head, just naturally on her own. Her canvas work, her it's exquisite. Like she has this really beautiful technique where you see that like those wonderful like influences of graffiti, but then there's like these very like organic natural elements to it, and it, and she's a female artist, so it plays with that whole like that beautiful like femininity being gentle and then like strong as well,
or bold.
Yeah, and her sense of color and composition is just like it's so on point. She's absolutely one of my favorites. Ebony Dallas is wonderful. I don't think she's in Oklahoma City anymore. I think she might have moved to Tulsa.
To Tulsa? But I mean, either way, in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
local.
no, yeah, she's fantastic. A lot of her work is about like her history with her father and her cultural upbringing and stuff. But she uses these really great like strong, warm tones, these oranges and like this gold leaf on it, and and you see her work and it's got this really great like epic quality, but very much not European based, like you can recognize that in it. Oh, and it, yeah, I love her work. I'm a big fan of hers, and there's so many other people like, I'm like trying to think so I can go through all the different ones. Who else has worked I really like? Elam Newman. He's pretty dope.
I don't know any of these people, so it's like, how do we look up art? How if you wanted to look like you were interested in this, how do you look up artists?
You know how I find artists? I find artists on social media. Like I will find people on Instagram and Facebook, and because not everyone has like their own like not everyone's on Wikipedia or has their own like webpage and stuff. And like honestly, if you're gonna find stuff that's people making quality work for the sake of just making great quality work, social media is a better, like, for me, it's been a better way to go about it, because then you find people that, and they don't have to worry about editing themselves so much, like, it's the pieces they chose to put out there in the public domain.
They took that picture or whatever.
Yeah, so it's like, it's got a lot of honesty to it.
That's dope. And then, I mean, I obviously we'll go back to surface level. If you really, truly want to find some people, you're going to have to go and search. Yeah. Physically go to the place where they hang out at and stuff like that. That's dope. If there's any like favorite moments, like if you in your whole career,
favorite moments,
or like favorite moments or favorite thing, like feelings that you could describe after a piece or before a piece or whatever.
Let's see.
That might be a difficult question. Like
let's see. Favorite moments.
Probably when
it could be general too.
Probably when she painted this.
We have some art in here.
And then she gave it to me.
Actually,
that's a good answer.
You know what? That is one of my favorite moments. Okay, so I always made art.
Get it down?
No, talk about that painting.
Okay.
What is that? Describe it to the.
That's a painting of Gandhi.
Yeah.
It's a diptych painting. It's 2 canvases split in half, but it's all one image. And it's Gandhi talking to
the Joker.
No, he's
I thought it was the Joker.
He was like a Muslim spiritual leader. I can't remember exactly who it is.
Damn.
But it's Gandhi, and he's talking to him. No, he's talking to him, and I got it from a National Geographic, the image from National Geographic, and I guess like the whole thing was when they started talking, people thought they were going to kind of have like a debate, kind of conflict. Yeah, instead they like after a while they started laughing because they have a lot in common.
Right.
Or they found common ground, I guess. And I thought that was really cool. But actually that painting has a good story behind it. Well, a lot of the stuff I gave Travis was gifts. So all the time I was younger, I always made art. I always liked to draw and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then, you get into high school and stuff, and you're from a small town like Shawnee, Oklahoma. And you don't really see that as being like a viable sort of future career or anything like that. But I got the opportunity to go to an art school in Santa Fe, New Mexico, to go to college. And I never even thought I would get that opportunity to go to college, honestly. So I had a lot of people who were like, oh, yeah, you're going to go and probably like drop out and end up back here doing nothing with your life or whatever. I had a lot of naysayers, basically.
As does a lot
I had a lot of naysayers.
Industry.
But one of the few people who always appreciated that I made art and always valued me as an artist and helped me to believe more myself in what I did was Travis, because he'd been my friend since we were little kids.
He breeds. He's a breeder of artists.
Dude.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
He's such a nurturer of the artist, of the art.
Yeah, well,
all of them.
I mean, like, we've known each other
Dude,
since we were what?
No. Since we're all adults now, I had a huge bong back in the day, and she fucking drew all over that thing, and it was the coolest fucking bong that anyone ever saw.
It was customized.
It was
customized.
Customized
bong.
Oh,
it was
man.
customized. But yeah, Trav was like one of the few people that was a close, friend of mine that was always like, yeah, like I think what you do is great. I think what you do is important. And so when I came back from school and I felt good because I didn't drop out that first year and I was ready to keep going, and I would come back home, visit Trav, and he would be like, yeah, you're doing it. You're like doing it. So when I brought home pieces and I was like really happy with him, I was like, you know what? I got to give you something because you always supported me.
Hell yeah.
So
that's dope.
I have 3 of them.
And hence the reason we're still friends to
I got
this
this
day.
one. I got that one.
Consistent person.
What's that one called? Is there a name for that one?
Which one? Oh, that one? No. And that's like I'm not sure what I was going through at the time I made that.
That's dope though.
But yeah, like
I got that one, and I got the one that's like the person in the big
bunny suit, yeah,
with the old lady at
her
front door or
the Donnie Darko painting.
Yeah.
just get a picture of them all, and then we
yeah. It'll be awesome.
But yeah, the Donnie Darko painting. So
that shit's sick.
Didn't you say that you saw a freaking show where there was like a parade that went through town and someone dressed in that bunny costume and went door to door and like greeted people or something?
Oh, that was like, I don't know what that was. It wasn't like a Mardi Gras thing. It was some sort of weird celebration. But yeah, there was like somebody.
That was the reasoning for that painting,
yeah
right?
Yeah, it was like super weird. It was like, and it was weird because I was like, it wasn't Easter related. I'm not sure why they were in a bunny costume.
I think you said that each year someone else took a turn in the bunny costume and went door to door and like greeted people.
Yeah, they were like, hey,
some sort of parade.
Like, yeah, it was some like weird, like, yeah, but I'm not sure like what the whole reasoning behind it was, but I was like, I guess they just had an extra bunny costume and decided to start handing it down. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's some interesting things. I guess if
the mayor must have been
they're like, hey,
sipping back on the old booze bottle.
Yep.
He said, you know what we're gonna do on this day from now on? Someone's gonna dress in this bunny costume.
We got the bunny rabbit costume.
We're gonna get the bunny costume.
Whose turn is it to be the bunny this year? So yeah,
that's dope. So y'all used to like draw. You would draw, and he would be like jamming on the guitar and stuff.
Yeah, and we always had fun. Like,
yeah,
we always just were. I don't know. Like at the time, we were like, oh, we're just dumb kids, just kind of do what we like. And then now that we're older, we're like, oh, this is legit our talent and our purpose in life. All right, I'm down.
Yeah. We were literally like practicing the whole time.
Yeah, didn't even know it.
You guys were both like creatively stimulating each other from a very early age.
Also,
saying.
Another piece of the triangle, you might say, was Heather Burris.
Oh man,
down the road.
Yeah, dude.
Do you ever talk to her?
I try to keep up with her actually on Facebook, and you know what? Heather is such a wonderfully beautiful human being. Like, seriously, since we were young, she always had the kindest heart, and
she was cool as shit.
Yeah, and like now I'm like, man, you're just so awesome. Like, I love the person you've grown into being, and
the last time I moved away and then came back, like I never even saw her or talked to her ever again.
This one turned out better, so
it's like super vivid. Like the more you were doing it.
There you go. See,
that's dope.
Hold on.
But if you look at it, that's so crazy. You can see like the similarities in style in even the small one.
Yeah.
Like it might be my hair. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Right.
there's that one, and then there's that one.
Nice.
And they're super dope.
Oh, they're yours now.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. I'm gonna keep these.
Should we transition into your song of choice?
Santana, Evil Ways.
We can take a little break,
Evil
CP,
Ways.
for a second. We'll be right back.
Yeah,
Word
that
from our
sounds good.
sponsors.
All right.
Let's go smoke a cigarette.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go smoke a cigarette. All
There
right.
we go.
Travis, you should sit here now. No? Sit here? A long time. 40 minutes so far.
You got to
No, that's
change your
good.
evil ways, baby. Before I stop loving you, you got to change, baby. And every word that I say is true. You got me running and hiding all over town. You got me singing and peeping and running you down. You can't go on. Lord knows you got to change, baby. Baby, when I come home, baby, my house is dark and my thoughts are cold to hang around, baby. Cheetah Joan and who knows who. I'm getting tired of waiting and fooling around. I find somebody that won't make you feel like a clown. This can't go on. Lord knows you got to change. When I come home, baby, my house is dark and my pots are full to hanging around, baby. Between and Joan and who knows who, I'm getting tired of waiting and fooling around. I find somebody that won't make me feel like a clown. This can't go on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Dude, have you heard Jack White's cover of Love is Sunshine? Wonder song? Oh, it's good.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
That song. You're the sunshine of my life. I think, yeah. That's what I do for fun. Try to find good covers of songs.
With my damaged
So, are you gonna draw Travis on this? Like you wanted?
Yeah,
Might as well.
him peeking. It's not gonna look like Travis, man. I'm gonna fuck it up. So
I mean,
fuck it up.
like,
if you need, I can go like this.
let's see.
It's off memory, so just look at him real quick.
Can I have my headphones on too?
Yeah, you can keep your headphones on. This is not gonna look like you. So I can already guarantee you now, it's not gonna look like Travis. So
Travis is a super. His face, it changes a lot.
Travis has some wicked facial hair.
Super wicked.
Travis has the facial hair of a champion. So,
So what type of like you said it really fast at the beginning. What type of mediums you go on? You said acrylic paint, different types of like textured stuff and different stuff like that. But like, try to like slow it down and go into depth more a little bit.
okay, so like I started a series like years ago, and what it is they're large scale ink drawings on bed sheets.
Okay.
So the whole way it came about was I was super broke.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have money for canvas or the materials I needed to make what I wanted to make, and I knew I wanted to do these large scale images.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, so what can I use that will be true to what the image is, but at the same time, like, be something I can actually work with, and then it plays into the concept. So I started just thinking about, okay, well, what is it that I'm drawing? What is it that I'm doing? It's images from my family, from my family's history, and so then I went from that into doing this really heavy thought process about how I grew up. And one of like the best memories I have is my grandmother and my family, like we had clothesline,
Mm-hmm.
like we had clothesline, and it was like playing in that clothesline, just moving through it. When you're a little kid, you love that. It's gentle and it's soft and it's
The clothes just running through them, kind of.
yeah, like just kind of moving your hand through that, like, and when they hung up
without knocking them off the clips, because you'd probably get in trouble for that.
right. But like it was like when you're a little kid and like someone hangs up a sheet, like what's your impulse to do? It's to like run through them, run your hands through them,
Right.
move through them, And like I had that memory, watching that, watching them move in the light and in the breeze and stuff, and
Right.
it was something really nostalgic for me, and it was a happy memory. It was something beautiful. And so then I was like, okay, so I take that memory of what I experienced, and I utilize part of what that memory was, which was the fabric itself. It's the sheets.
Mm-hmm.
And I put the image from the photograph, from the documented memory onto that sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I was like, oh, okay, so I pinned one up in my studio space, and I started doing the drawing, and it was the same method, and I started doing the drawing and making it. And then I stepped back and I was like, oh, it looks like the image, but it's not fully what that memory was. So what do I do? So then I actually constructed a huge clothesline in the gallery space I had, and I pinned them up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool because when it was first displayed, people were like, they were doing the art thing, like you don't touch shit in the museum, in the gallery. So they were walking around, and they were looking at it and observing it. And then like some woman came in with her little kid,
and the kid
he like took off, like running through and like, pushing them and pulling them, playing in and out. And she was like, no. I was like, no, he did it right. He did it right. That's what that's what he's supposed to do.
Right.
That's your impulse. That's your instinct, is to play, is to be a part of it. So then I realized this kid got it, because not only did he experience the art and what it visually had to say to him, he caught part of what my memory was.
Right.
And then in the process, he
created... almost.
Yeah, and then in the process, he just created his own.
Right.
So whatever comes from that is what he'll take from it.
Right. And it's almost even cooler because you brought the feeling as a child of just running through sheets.
Yeah.
Just running through sheets. Brought it to an art gallery where you're not supposed to touch stuff and blah, 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 blah. And then you put a kid into that same environment, and it's the exact same thing.
So then it
just
became
an art gallery.
Yeah.
It's like breaking some rules.
Yeah, it became more natural. And then so it was like, so what is art? Is it something to step back and observe? Is it something made for only the extremely wealthy? Is it something, that's limited?
Right.
Or is it something that can apply to anything? Is it something also utilitarian? Is it something, it's different aesthetics for different people. And like the three main aesthetics of European like fine art is that it's of an epic scale, made by a man, of precious materials. Those are like the usual standards of how they do things, right? So I did the polar opposite of that. I made stuff not of precious materials, of recycled materials.
On a small scale.
I made it at a different scale because it can be like folded up and condensed, and it was made by a woman. So I did everything kind of like counterintuitive to that, but it was intentional. It was about
and
like,
almost out of the normalcy that has been made out of the art that of the epic scale made by a man, blah blah blah. You doing the polar opposite kind of brought art back to art type thing.
Yeah.
Or just the idea itself, not necessarily you, but just the fruition of it.
Yeah. I mean, creativity isn't something you can really limit or give a strict definition of.
Right.
But like anything that's an intense emotion, instinct, feeling, and thought, how do you really describe it? I mean,
it's almost like whoever establishes a way to do something, the person next who's gonna make it is the person who breaks that established thing. You know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly. So
or the just the feeling of art, like it's always the anti, not necessarily always the anti, but like just the feeling of turnover or turmoil. You know what I mean?
Like generations are gonna surpass each other. You know, I look at my own daughter and I'm like, God damn, you are so smart. You're so talented. You are everything already better than what I could ever be. And I love that. I like that's why you become proud of your children. You know, like I don't really think our kids are like extensions of ourselves. I think like they're their own unique individual. But man, they are like, kids are your heroes. We're not their heroes. They're ours.
Right.
So, you know, like it's the same thing with like anything when you go into a field of like art, music, whatever. Everything that came before you, you appreciate, you love, it inspired you, and then you're taking it the next step further.
Right.
So. I mean,
that's profound.
Yeah, I learned that from my kid. Like,
well, it's the way you said that the kids are your heroes, blah 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 blah. It's almost hard to place, but it's like when you're a kid, you're looking up to people and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
There's an expectation of what it is, and then when you're a grown up, you look at a kid, and when he's doing something, he's like, "I'm gonna go do this," and you're just like, "You go do that."
Yeah.
Because that's what I wanted. Like, I wish I could be doing that right now. That's just the realest,
and then you get blown
thing.
away. You're just like, man, wow, okay, cool.
And it's almost like, and it's like, as a kid, you don't realize how pure your thoughts are.
Yeah.
In an adaptive way, like you're just now like adapting to everything and perceiving things. So whenever you're letting it out, it's crazy.
And it's cool because there's like a duality to it. Like you start switching roles. Like, you know, people are always like, well, you got to teach your kids this. I was like, man, your kids teach you so much too.
Right.
So then you switch back and forth and you kind of just figure out, oh, that's like how you're going to do it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You know, nobody knows it all. So
it's constant yin and yang. It's constant. Right? This person learned this while I was learning this. So they know that and I don't.
Yeah.
And we're both experienced in different ways.
Right.
You know, so it's weird.
And then like, this sounds weird. Like I like telling my daughter when I'm wrong or when I like don't understand something. I'll just like straight tell her. I'll be like, you know, she'll ask me a question. I'm like, I really don't actually know the answer to that. I wish I could give you the answer, but I don't. Mom doesn't know everything, you know? But instead of like an adult will be like, oh, you don't know. Like they kind of judge you for it. She's like, oh, really? Well, maybe we can learn it together.
Right.
You know? And I'm like, man, that's such a better like perspective on things.
Right. And it also teaches her not to look to other people for the answer necessarily.
Yeah.
Like the pure answer, the right is not, people don't know. And sometimes people are just saying stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of fear of not letting people they don't know. You know what I mean?
Or don't even be afraid of being wrong.
Right.
Like, you know, a lot of people go like, they get ashamed of it. They get embarrassed of it. They try to hide it. I'm always like, I do stuff wrong all the time.
Right.
Like, that's kind of like even the process of like how I draw. I'm like, there's going to be imperfections in it. I'm not striving for perfection.
Right.
I'm just creating what comes naturally.
Right. The vagueness of the moment might come out. Like it might be such a vague project just because the moment wasn't so attached. It was just an apparition or whatever.
Yeah, like, and it's weird because like you start thinking about the things you were taught too, and then like how you start recognizing how some of it was wrong.
Right.
You know, like it's a really good moment when you're like, oh, well, I've learned enough to know to question what I've learned.
And then the humanness in that of being able to forgive whatever it was for being wrong. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I didn't know what the fuck was going on neither or whatever.
Well, you get a sense of humility about it, you
Right.
know? Like, people make mistakes,
Mhm.
you know? Like, you choose whether or not you hold on to that reaction you had, or if, you know, you forgive it. Over time, you're like, it wasn't really even a big deal. Like, I don't know why I got hung up on
That
it.
sudden awareness of there's a level of humanness to everybody.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
everything and the actions people do aren't always
Yeah.
perfect. Even though adults put off the portrayal of knowing more, it's really just a game.
Well, like, yeah, because you're supposed to be teaching your kids, so you can't admit when you're wrong. Well, no, you should go ahead and tell your kid when you are, because first of all, that makes them not feel bad if they are ever wrong.
Sure.
You know, and then second of all, they know that, like, oh, well, yeah, not everybody knows everything.
The idea of being wrong is to get better off being wrong instead
Right.
of focus.
It's the learning process. I don't know if that looks like Trav. That kind of looks like Ron Perlman. I'll be honest.
It looks like the dad on Sons of Anarchy kind of
Yeah.
too, with a cap. But anyways, April.
Wait, isn't that Ron Perlman? Like,
Is that, I don't know, is that the gray haired dude on Sons of Anarchy?
I haven't watched that show enough to know.
He got a big old jaw.
So yeah, that probably is Ron Perlman. He's Hellboy.
Yeah, it's the
that's
same
Ron
guy.
Perlman,
Yeah. It looks exactly like that dude. But anyways, April, it's been so good to have you on the show. We're about to play this song. It's called Boots Are Made for Walking. You might know it.
Oh, Nancy Sinatra.
It's by Nancy Sinatra. Why'd you pick that song?
Why did I pick that song? Well, because I like Nancy.
You've been listening to that recently? Or
No.
have you always listened to that?
You know what? It's weird because it's like a song about a woman basically telling a guy off. She's like, I'm leaving, I'm walking off, you know.
Mhm.
But then at the same time, I'm like, if you didn't care, you wouldn't have wrote the song.
Right.
Like you're just trying to make a point. It's like an old diss track. Basically, it's like she was like, I'm gonna diss on this guy. So yeah, but then at the same time,
I want to make a point and him to feel something, so I'm gonna go off like that.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna make him feel bad. I'm gonna walk away. I'm gonna write a song about it. I don't know.
It's ironic.
I don't know.
It's almost
but
it's almost the irony in it too.
Mhm, yeah.
That's funny. Let's listen to it. Once again, thank you so much. This has been a great episode of LodgeTalk. We got some more stuff going on in the future. I'm so glad to have you on there. We got some dope ass pictures.
Yeah.
We got Zedek with Ron Perlman. And then
Thank you for having me on. It was fun.
Anytime. We love having return customers, even though we haven't had one here.
I'll come back. I'll come
For
back.
sure.
You've been a messin' where you shouldn't have been a messin'.
That was good. Fuck yeah.
And now someone else is getting all your best. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you.
Probably wouldn't have turned out that way if you weren't smiling like ridiculously.
Kind of looks like
You keep lying when you ought to be truthing. And you keep losing when
Why not?
you
Like,
ought
it's the
not
same
bet.
move.
You keep saying it when you ought to be a-changing. Now what's right is right, but you ain't been right yet.
I could have made your beard.
These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll
It's good
do.
how it is.
One of these days,
But I
these
would've liked
boots are gonna walk
My ego.
all over you.
Yeah, people get hung up on it. Speed
Let that shit grow.
You
Yeah.
keep playing
Some
where you
people don't
shouldn't
do
be
that.
playing.
I think there's a difference between ego and confidence.
And you keep thinking that you'll never get burned. Ha! How
Or they
I
don't know how to
just
mix the
found
two
me a
properly.
brand new box of matches, yeah.
I think it's a
And what
certain
he knows
self-awareness.
you ain't had time to learn. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you.
Like, if you're really doing something right, you don't have to say it. It's other people.
Are you ready, Boots?
I'm like, oh man, they're badass. They're doing something.
Start walking.
And then there's also the other people who are like,
Yeah.
you gotta go to those art shows. You gotta go to those music concerts. That that's the dilemma for an artist though. Is like, do I just want to sit back and make
Crawl
my
into my
art,
hole.
crawl into my hole and make my art, and not really, because I don't give a fuck if anybody.